Little revision sessions I've got for you, ready for Monday's exam, the dynamic planet, which is all of physical geography. So your topic number 1 is restless Earth, and the first thing we're going to look at is the interior of the Earth, or the layered structure of the Earth, and this should look familiar to you. Remember, if you can't say things very well or you're struggling to write things down, you can always do a labelled diagram. So what do we know about this? We have the inner core, the outer core, the mantle, you have your oceanic and your continental crust. You need to be able to describe these. So your inner core is radioactive, it is very hot there, made of metal, and it is solid and dense. The outer core surrounds the inner core. Your mantle is semi-molten or semi-liquid, it moves in convection currents. On top of the mantle you have the crust, and you have your continental crust and your oceanic crust. Continental crust is made of granite, it's much thicker, less dense. Oceanic crust made of basalt, it is denser, but it is not as thick. It will always be subducted underneath the continental crust. Okay, so why do plates move? Well, they move due to convection currents. And here you have your core. Heat in the core creates magma in the mantle, which moves in convection currents. Does it matter which way the arrows go? Remember, yes it does. Where the arrows or where the convection currents are moving together, you will get a destructive zone because plates are pulled together or dragged together, whereas where the convection currents move apart, plates are pulled or dragged apart. Moving on then, next we have different types of plate boundaries, and there are 3, aren't there? You've got your destructive, your constructive, and your conservative, and you need to be able to do the diagrams. So here, oh, that's not very good, we'll try that again. You have your oceanic plate going underneath your continental plate. This forces the land up to create mountains. You have your subduction zone. Here friction will create earthquakes and magma, which will rise as a volcano. At a constructive plate boundary, the plates are moving apart because the convection currents are moving apart, and magma will ooze out of the gap to form a shield volcano. At a conservative plate boundary, the plates are sliding past each other, they may get stuck, and when the pressure is released, an earthquake is triggered. So there are 2 types of volcanoes, aren't there? You have your composite volcano and you have your shield volcano. Your composite volcano is your stereotypical cone-shaped volcano. Here's the vent, the magma chamber. When it erupts, you get plumes of ash, dust, lava bombs, pyroclastic flow, and lahars. They are found at destructive plate boundaries, whereas a shield volcano is quite a gentle shape, not cone shape, and the magma will ooze out to form a gentle shape. These are found at constructive plate boundaries. These are more explosive, these are less explosive. Okay, so earthquakes happen at conservative plate boundaries. There's a fault line. The focus of the earthquake is underground and the epicenter is directly above that. The proximity or closeness to the epicenter is very important because the waves or shock waves will be greater the closer the settlement is to the epicenter. The depth of the focus is important as well, because if that is shallow, the waves will be a lot stronger, causing more damage. Other things that affect the severity of an earthquake is the magnitude, which is measured on the Richter scale. The time of day, it will be worse if it's at night and everyone's in bed, and the level of development in a country. Remember, the main vent was blocked, which led to a bulge on the side of the volcano, and there was a lateral blast in 1980. It led to 57 deaths, millions of trees were knocked down, 7,000 deer, never one of my best drawings, millions of fish, Spirit Lake was knocked down, 250 homes and 47 bridges. It could have been a lot worse, but they were prepared, they knew it was going to blow, and a lot of people had been evacuated. In the aftermath, the secondary impacts included a loss in the timber trade, so the lumberjacks lost their jobs. The tourism industry declined because Spirit Lake didn't exist anymore, and they had to spend a lot of money rebuilding things. Your case study for an earthquake is Haiti. It was in 2010. It measured 7 on the Richter scale. It had some very serious primary impacts. 316,000 people died, 300,000 were injured, and remember, I'm homeless, 1 million people homeless. The port was destroyed, the factories, the clothing factories were destroyed, and this all had many impacts. Secondary impacts included cholera, as water sources or water supplies were contaminated. 1 million people still living in refugee camps a year after the event, and 1 in 5 people were unemployed as the factories collapsed. Initially, the immediate response would have been search and rescue, looking for survivors. Then they get provided with food, that's a chicken drumstick by the way, and water, and then eventually they will need shelter and of course medical attention.